who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey sports fans, Larry Elder here. Welcome to another edition of And Another Thing. This is edition number 97, believe it or not. If you'd like to become an Eldorado, go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form. You're going to get a copy of my feature-length documentary, award-winning feature-length documentary called Michael and Me, where I confront Michael Moore, and I ask Michael Moore, literally here in Santa Monica, he was at a book signing. I tried to get him on the show for a whole year. He promised he would debate a Republican about gun control anywhere, anytime, any place. We called him for over a year. He kept putting us off. So I decided that the Muhammad should go to the mountain, or the other way around. The mountain would go to Muhammad. Anyway, I confronted Michael Moore and I asked him 3 times how often Americans use guns to defend themselves. And 3 times he deflected. I think you'll enjoy it. Go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form, get a copy of Michael and Me. Now for episode number 97 of And Another Thing. This one's going to be fun. I'll tell you why. For maybe now about almost 10 years, George W. Bush has been pounded because they didn't find stockpiles of WMD in Iraq. You might recall during the run-up to the war, the 15-month run-up to the war, George W. Bush told Saddam Hussein to declare fully and thoroughly what he had or face consequences. Bush went to the House, went to the Senate, got a resolution, went to the United Nations, got a resolution, Resolution 1441, all saying if Saddam Hussein does not thoroughly declare what he has, does not stop interfering with the United Nations inspectors, consequences could be war. You all know what happened. Then they couldn't find the stockpiles. And all of a sudden, George W. Bush was a liar. You heard the chants. Bush lied. People died. Teddy Kennedy said week after week after week, we were told lie after lie after lie. Maxine Waters, the congresswoman from California, the one who has founded the caucus called the Get Out of Iraq Now caucus, she said, there were no weapons, there were no weapons. Well, cover story, New York Times yesterday. Guess what? There were weapons. Cover story, front page, dead center, New York Times, talked about all the soldiers who have found various stuff, nerve gas, sarin gas, mustard gas, and they're getting blisters, getting sick. And the New York Times said that the stuff that they found was weaponizable quite easily. Then in the New York Times, there was a sentence that was buried in it. And it said, George W. Bush deserves an apology. It's too bad the New York Times does not have the integrity to give it to him. Now for your questions. Thank you, sir. Pamela is from Carson, California. Have you ever noticed that when left-wing people start their spin, a la deception, they start the sentence with, look, we're not focusing on the problem. Or, look, you're just not understanding the situation. Is that a tactic of theirs to make it appear that they're smarter than the rest of us so people will believe that's what they're saying? Yes. It's also just kind of a diversionary tactic when you don't know what to say, when you want to seem as if you're empathetic, when you're about ready to insult somebody, you start out like that. The bottom line is, ultimately, the power of an argument will be won over by its strength, by whether or not it works in the real world. And the problem with left-wing stuff is that it often doesn't work in the real world. My friend Thomas Sowell, the economist, says, when you've got a left-wing program, ask yourself 3 questions. And generally speaking, it won't survive that 3-part test. I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in Eldorado. Go to my website, LarryElder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.